This time on Roadkill, all of this greatness in the back of Stubby Bob.
Yeah, this one's really cool.
Did you say wheelie?
Took me way too long.
That one is like right on. Yeah. I mean, this is too, but I like the rust on that one. Even the wheels.
The wheels were too big. I couldn't find any smaller ones, but those are the only ones I could find. But I think it's the
radiators. Look, he even painted the interior red. Although this has a stick, as that car should. Wow. Stick off. Oh, look at the grill. Oh, and it's got the original black painted 440. That's so wrong. I tried to look. The legacy lives on. Wow, that is
good. Road, like fly past the line and go straight up to the security guard.
Can I give you their phone number?
Yes, you can. You want to text it to me?
I'm thinking about making another one. I'm thinking either your land speed car.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
Or Stubby Bob.
Stubby Bob is pretty good.
Yeah, I would like to do.
That's a win.
Look what we got. Over it. Okay, so what gotten done so far is I've completely disassembled the truck all the way down to the bare frame. What I'm going to do now, or what I have done, I should say, is I've shortened the running board. Next, I'm going to cut these body mounts off for the bed that I'm not going to be using. And I've marked here in gold Sharpie the sections that I'm going to cut out. So all of this will be taken out, and then the rest of this will be slid forward. That way, the stock rear end can be mounted here, and then the whole thing will be slid forward, just like, hey. I've taken the engine out of the truck because we don't need that anymore. The front axle I'm going to put back on just like regular. The exhaust pipe, I'm not going to use this for this model. I might use it for another one, but right now, yeah, I'm not going to use it. Like I said, cut that out and remount it. So, let's get started. Okay, so not much has changed since the last time you've seen this, except for I shortened it, finally. And I took out the engine just like I did. I took off the ends of the frame so that it, just like the real one again. And also it stands a lot better that way, because I did not put the nails in the frame like I was wanting to. What I will do though is I will cut a groove into the inside of the frame and then glue paper clips there and then patch it back up again. But for right now, the drive shaft is still the same length. I'm going to have to cut that to correct size. I'm still going to have to make the V-drive. I'm still going to have to make really the whole drivetrain, and then it'll be sitting there just like the real Stubby Bob. I will need to cut a big hole in the back. I'm gonna cut a even larger hole in the floor of the truck, and then I'm going to cut out the seats so it's just the backrest of the seat. I don't know if you can see that. And then go from there. Okay, so since the last time you've seen this, I have made a lot of progress, and sadly I did not be able to record it. I was recording, but my phone actually ran out of battery and I lost all of the video. So luckily you didn't miss too much, though. I did get to cut the hole in the back wall of the cab and the floor out of the truck, and I took all of the chrome trim off and I stripped all the chrome off of it, so now they're all just bare plastic. The seat, I cut the bottom half of the seat off so I can paint this tan And I'm going to be using other seats out of a different model car as the seats here, except I'm going to paint these blue because, well, you know. Again, like I said, you haven't missed too much, but I do regret not being able to recover the video. Actually, the engine, I did what I said I was going to do. I took the bottom half of the flathead and I cut the top half of it off so I can glue the top half of a separate engine on to make it look like a blown big block. And even though I did it correctly, I sanded it flat to make it feel like it's one piece. There are still some gaps that I didn't get to fill in, and I don't think I'm going to be able to recover those because even though I did this correctly, the top half of this came from a toy, so everything's out of proportion and it just doesn't look right. And the bottom half is still a flathead, so I'm thinking about getting a different engine model and then doing it regularly, you know, just like the real one. Like I said, I just stripped all the chrome off of the plastic to make it just the bare plastic, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just straight paint these brown and then put a rust paint over them to make it seem a lot more realistic that way. So again, like I said, I do regret not being able to record it, but you didn't miss a whole lot. It was just a whole bunch of grinding with the drum sander here on my rotary tool. Not much, but just a little update. Okay, so I went shopping today and I got some more paint for the truck. And since I accidentally left out a video, I'm going to record the painting process of this one. So what I'll be doing is I'll be painting these seats blue. I dropped it. I'll be painting the truck cab a multiple of colors with these two burgundy, red, deep red kind of colors, along with a little bit of brown to add just a little bit of rust. And then for things like chrome, I'll be painting these brown and a little bit of rust paint. I'll show you what that is later. So like I said, we are going to be painting today, and I'm not going to let you miss that one too. So let's get started. Okay, so the reason why I'm keeping the body panels on, such as the hood and doors, is because if you notice in the episodes where Stubby Bob is in, you'll notice that there is the brand new paint underneath the hood, and so I'm trying to replicate that. Also in the door jambs, you know, it's the original paint there. Everywhere else, it's completely rusted out. So I'm trying to replicate that by leaving the body panels on, which is something I regularly don't do on my models, but here I'm doing it anyways. For my first light coat, I'm going to be using this old can of Colonial Red. That's got a satin finish, or like a matte to a flat finish. And so we'll begin with that here. Then I'll be moving on to this darker colored Rust-Oleum satin kind of color. I don't know what color that would be. Burgundy, I guess? I don't know. I'll do that later. And then I'll give it just a light coat of brown in some areas, along with some of the trim pieces I'm going to be using, such as the bumper and the door handles and mirror and stuff like that. So this I'm going to be keeping. And then also what I'm going to be painting red is the interior and small trim pieces as well. The radiator I will be painting flat black, and the chrome I will be painting this chrome spray paint that I have that isn't really chrome. It's like a silvery kind of color, like what you get with a silver Sharpie marker. So I'll be doing that later, but for right now I'm going to be painting this first. When you think it's mixed, mix it some more. This is an almost empty can, so I'm just going to finish this off and then go straight to the darker burgundy color. Like I said, I got the other things painted as well, such as the seats. I got the interior pieces painted dark red. I got the bumper painted brown, and along with the mirror and door handles. The front accessory, the front grille, I got the radio, the windshield wiper, and small trim pieces as well. Also the door handles. I repainted chrome just a little bit. I'm going to be painting those brown again. And then the radiator, I'm painting flat black. It's gonna take a while because this gold really stands out. So that one's gonna take multiple coats, which is fine. But for right now, painting is almost done. First things first, I gave up on the original engine. It's just too bad. The top half of it came from a toy, and as a result is too unrealistic, no matter how much modifying and grinding I do to it. So I've just given up on it. The engine I've decided to go with is a GMP 1/18 scale engine and transmission. Parts number is 18875. It is a blown 572 big block. I thought I would choose that because it's so closely related to the 454, but you know, it's good enough right now, and it looks killer. So, I've painted the engine black. The cylinder heads and the valve covers used to be silver with a Chevy 572 on it, but I've just sanded it and painted it black to match the 454. The two carburetors on top of the blower, I've turned those 180 degrees, and I've cut the scoop in half, so it's just the bottom half where I can mount my own scoop later when I get around to that. The belt is actually rubber, so I've actually flipped it to the other side of this tensioner pulley here. And the fuel line, I've just rerouted it down to this end of it because that's where the gas tank will go, like a beer keg of some kind. The engine mounts, I've made those out of sheet metal from an old computer case. The transmission mount I've made from an old metal coat hanger, and I've glued it to a bracket that I've super glued to the bottom side of the chassis. The chassis, I've done a lot of work recently. I've sanded it flat on all sides. I've cut off unnecessary brackets that connected to the old transmission and old engine and all that stuff. Don't need those anymore, so I cut those off and I sanded it flat, and it's ready for paint, you know, like a light brown color, hopefully. The drive shaft I'll be reusing. I'll be cutting it around there. It could be around here, but I just wanted to give it an extra length so if I mess up, I have another chance. The headers that came with the engine are these. These ones, one interesting I like to point out thing, this came pre-bash. I thought that was kind of interesting. But I'm not going to be using these. I will be using nails. I will be cutting it there, and then bending it in the middle here to a 90 degrees, and then making 8 of them, and then super gluing this end to a plate that I'll be mounting on the cylinder heads where the exhaust ports will go, and going from there. But for right now, I think it's turned out pretty good. If I can get the body on. Stubby Bob is looking pretty good right now. I would also like to point out that the radiator I'm going to be using up front under the hood is going to be actually from a heatsink that came from an old computer power supply. I wanted to use this because if you can tell on camera, it's got like a ridged texture to it, and I thought that'd be perfect for a radiator. So I've already cut off a few fins. I've got to cut off this one, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. But that'll be later. For right now, I just want to point out how cool this looks. The V drive, I don't know what I'm going to be doing yet. I'm either going to be making it from scratch or hopefully buying one used for like a boat model online somewhere, but I haven't found one anywhere, so I'm probably going to have to make one. Last thing, seats and interior tray. The seats I've moved over closer to each other, and I've modified the stands a little bit. I also put a battery in back, because why not? That's where it goes. Lucky did an episode with some other guy, I forget his name already, I'm sorry, where he went into depth of Stubby Bob, and he also pointed out that he heated up the brake pedal and moved it over, and the gas pedal will be over there, where the brake pedal used to go. So I'll be doing that later. Right now, I just cut off the brake pedal, and now I'm pretending that the clutch pedal is the brake pedal. It'll make sense later, but right now I think that looks pretty good. So the paint I'm going to be using to rust this paint is actual rust. It's called Rustall. You can get it from like a hobby shop of some kind. I got it from Pegasus Hobbies. It rusts anything. The reason why it rusts anything is because it's actual rust. It's iron filings that are floating in alcohol and some sort of binding agent. And when you brush it on, the alcohol dries, leaving the iron and the glue behind, making it look like it's rusty. That's actually what I used on the Rotson build. But anyways, that's it. This is a strange setback. It's not too big, but it is annoying nonetheless. The hubs in the center of the wheels were too thin for the 3D printer to print, and so they actually just melted and it just fell apart and ate itself alive. It's unusable. The good thing about it, though, is I know that these are the correct size at least. And so this connects to the axle, and then this will connect to the wheel. So it is the right size, it's just failed. This is supposed to be the hub of the wheel. So I'm gonna see if we can change that and print it again and get it again on Monday. So a little setback, but that's fine for right now for a while. But finally, after about a month of slowly getting each wheel, I have all 6. So now we can get started on putting them together and hoping they'll all work. As for Bob himself, I still need to trim the fenders. I'm not really sure how to do that yet. I've tried the drum sander bit for the Dremel, and I've also tried a couple of other bits like this stone bit here. I've also done some other things like using a cutoff wheel, but I'm afraid that would like break since, you know, you're not really supposed to do curved lines like that. They're supposed to do straight lines. So, I mean, yeah, I could cut slits into it and then cut it that way, but I don't know. For now, I'll just leave it. I'll figure out a way to cut it some other time, but right now I think that's good enough for now. Here's the backside of each wheel before I cut all the stuff out. It's pretty cool. Okay, so I've got all 6 wheels here finally after about a month of slowly printing one by one out from my woodshop teacher's 3D printer he has. I've had a change of plan on in terms of paint. I'm actually not gonna paint the rust on and make it look like it's rust. First off, this base coat I'm using just isn't looking right. I don't know how it'll show up through the rest of the paint, and so I'm just gonna ditch it all together and strip it down to a bare metal. Except for the interior though, I'm gonna leave that bright red, because in the episodes when the doors are open on the truck, you can see the original paint still there. So I'm gonna leave the original paint inside the door sill and stuff like that. But on the outside of the truck, I'm gonna strip it down to bare metal. And instead, what I'm gonna use is this rust off. First, I start out with this unfinished one. You can see that the surface finish is god awful. It doesn't even look like a sidewall of a tire. Not to mention the backside where all the lattice is what it's called, I think. So I have to go in and take all of this stuff out, which really isn't that hard. It's just time consuming, and make it as smooth as I possibly can. Okay. And then I'm left with a product like this, where it's still ridiculously rough, but that's okay. At least all the lattice stuff is out. And then what I'll do is I'm actually using super glue as a sort of body filler. I know I'm not really supposed to do that, but it's all I have. So I use super glue all over the tire, and then I sand it flat, and it actually looks really good. So I put all the glue all over the place, okay, and then I sand it flat, and it is amazingly smooth. Hell of a lot better than what it was. I don't know if you can see that in the light, but and then I'll use primer and then sand down the high spots and use primer again and sand down the high spots again. And I just keep doing that over and over and over until I'm left with something ridiculously smooth. And then I'll put some more of that rust paint on on the rims, and then the tires I'll, you know, paint flat black maybe. The V drive, this is actually my second attempt. I'm using 2 Lego bricks that have been glued together and is completely 100% filled with glue, each of the insides of the bricks. You can see here, hopefully. What I'll do is carve it out like it's a blank. And this is actually my second attempt. My first attempt was a complete failure. The proportions were all wrong, and the angle was off, and it was just awful. So I'm actually trying to do it again here, and I think it'll turn out pretty cool. For the hood scoop, I'm going to be using sheet metal, and also for the trans tunnel, right there. And I have a shifter. It's in here somewhere. Let me see. The shifter is here. I'll be gluing that on top of the trans tunnel, on top of like a piece of red plastic. I mean, I think that'll look pretty cool. As for the rust effect on the grill, I stripped down all the chrome, and then I repainted it silver. And then I used just the lightest of the spray of brown, and I think that looks pretty cool. It looks like rusted chrome to me, so there's that. Okay, so I've already gone ahead and I've painted the frame. Thinking it looks pretty good so far. It's not completely dry yet, so I'm not going to put it together yet. However, the suspension bits are dry, so I'm going to put these together. I've painted the bottom side of the cab as well, so it would match this, and I think it looks pretty good so far. For the fenders and the wheel arches, I've already gone ahead and trimmed one, although it's not really looking correct. As it turns out, the Ford F1 1948 is actually a couple inches longer than the Ford F6, the 1950 version, the dump truck one, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because the F1 is the pickup truck model. It should be smaller, but it's actually bigger. And so even though my proportions are correct, it just looks wrong because it's longer. And so I can't really go back and fix that, so I guess I'll just leave it. I think that's fine for now. Okay, so like I said, I did have a change of plans in terms of paint and what I wanted to do for the color. So instead of painting the rust on and making it look like it's actually rusty, I'll actually use the real rust stuff that I have. So what I've done is, so far, I've trimmed the fenders already, both sides. I tried recording it, but my phone ran out of battery as I was recording, so that's lost. I apologize for that. Safety first, gloves. If you get this paint stripper on your hands or on your arms or whatever, it will burn you. It's a chemical. If you have one, wear a mask or something like this. If you're doing it indoors, you know, you open a window, door, or fan, you know, you've heard that before. General safety. So, you don't need a whole lot. Just a general pour over the top and let the chemical do the work. One thing I'd like to mention is, like I said before, I want to keep the original paint on the insides here of the door jambs. If this was another model, I would take the panels off and do each panel separately, but in this case, I want it all together so that I can give it that outside-only weathered look. So, even though this stuff is a liquid and it might just seep through, oh well. I'll see what happens. So, here goes nothing. All my hard work. Okay, so a few major things since the last time you've seen this. One is the paint on the cab is completely done. I think that looks really realistic, I guess you could say. The inside of the cab I think is pretty good so far. I still need to, of course, do the transmission tunnel, shifter, gas pedal on the firewall there, the back of the firewall, and a few other things, but I think so far it's pretty good. Let's see here. This motor mount keeps breaking off, that's annoying. I still need to make the third motor mount that goes across the water pump there. I need to make the gas tank, I need to make the tail light, the taillights, excuse me, and the tow hitch, and the KJ light. Need to make the mirror longer, and the radiator, that's right, need to make the radiator there, and then of course make some plumbing that goes all the way down underneath the cab pretty much, and then out through here and across into the water pump like that. Right now I'm working on the V-drive. I think looks so pretty good so far. I need to cut this section out so it looks like this side. The reason why I kept that little bump there is because that's the mounting point. And then I'm going to cut like a slant into it on one of the bottom sides there, and then go from there. The wheels, I've since put primer on them again, and then I can, this time white primer, that way I can put the rust stuff on, and it's not looking too good actually. It looks more like wood than rust actually, so I'm trying to think that over. So the next thing we're going to be doing is the rust on the inside of the door panels. I've sanded them down all the way down to bare plastic. It's like a white color, and then I repainted them. Again, this is plan B here. I repainted them back to the original bright red. Okay. And then what I did is use some of this Rustall, and I kept putting layer upon layer upon layer over the entire thing. And soon enough, you get something like this. I think that looks pretty good. Since I haven't shown any of the rusting process on screen, which I'm kind of ashamed of, I apologize for that. I'll be doing some on screen here for the door. So, bottle of Rustall. I've already explained to you what it is several times, so I'm using like a 10mm brush, I think this is. I can't really tell. I don't know, either way. It's a hair style brush. It's not a nylon brush, which is good for me. Wipe off the access, and then As for the drivetrain, I've fully built the V drive. I didn't film that because I thought it'd be kind of boring to see. I took 2 Lego bricks, glued them together, and then just used a hand file, and a Dremel, and cut to shape and size. I'll bring it a little closer. And, well, I don't know. I think it looks pretty good to me. I cut the drive shafts to length, and then glue those in. And I think, yeah, looks pretty good. I didn't add any of the fins in it, like a heatsink would. Basically because they would be too small for this scale, and I don't know how to do that. So I'll just leave it like that anyways. Okay, so got the tires painted, the rims rusted. I think that looks incredibly well done. If it'll focus. This is what we started out as. Took like a month to get from this to that. I think that's pretty cool. The inner rear wheels, I'm going to be using Legos, 1x1x1 little cylinder bricks. I don't know what they're really called, but turns out they fit perfectly within that little indentation there, the center hub of the wheel there, and so I'm going to be using that to my advantage. And then I glued that in there, and yeah, these are the inner rear wheels. So, but yeah. Oh yeah, and that door, it's turning out pretty nice so far. That was only after like 10 layers maybe. So, a few more to go, and then, yeah, pretty good. Okay, so, right now I want to try working on the gas tank. Check this out. So, last night when I was going to sleep, I was thinking about working on Stubby again. I was thinking about the gas tank. And I was trying to think of different ways I could try and make this as easy as possible. I thought maybe a roll of nickels or quarters or something like that, but I thought, well, I don't have any money, so I'm not going to do that. And then it hit me. Lego wheels. I got two of these together. Hope if you can get 2 of these kind together, it would be better. But I don't have a lot of those. Now, normally I don't like cutting up Legos and modifying them for projects, but I tell you what, they're really useful for stuff like this. So, I've gone ahead and I glued these together as perfectly as I could. I sanded them down and all that and make them look, you know, as good as I can. Now, I need to fill in these gaps. So, I have some JB Weld. That's what we're going to do today. Okay, so I have the gas tank all epoxied up and dried. The light gray parts is actually where I started to stand, but that got too boring for me, so I thought, why don't I turn it down on a lathe? But hey, guess what? I'm too poor to afford a lathe, so I have a cheap drill press from Harbor Freight. We're gonna use that instead. So, I've super glued a Lego 3x1 rod, I guess, in there. I'm gonna chuck that in the drill press and use my imagination and look sideways. And there you go, it's a lathe. All you need now is a file, and when it's running, just basically do that for the entire thing. So, nevertheless, let's get started. Okay, so this is the trans tunnel I'm working on. I've made it out of actual sheet metal, and I'm just gluing it together now, but that's later. Right now, I have sanded the gas tank as far down as I would like to. And I've also cut off the little the connectors on the inside, the female connectors. And I've got a couple of these dome pieces here, also Lego. One of them has just a dome on top, and the one here has a stud on it. I've already started to sand down. Actually, I've kind of completely sanded down the edges of it so it'll fit on the inside of this. Haven't done that to this one yet, but my plan is to glue these onto the insides of this one, like this, basically, but all the way down, and then the other one, the same thing on this side.
Whisper words that her mouth cannot. Keen for the purpose of finding one thing, that feeling you get when you suddenly know everything. Bring me to life. My eyes are open, my thoughts alive. Here in this moment, got caught up in this endless night. We're in this moment, got caught
right away, you'll notice headers. I'll get to that in a second. I've finished painting the gas tank here. Put it on. Let's get the finished painting the gas tank, and I don't know. Looks like a beer cake to me. I already did the boring part of gluing it in, so you didn't have to see that. Trust me, it's just going in place. Who cares? But header though. I'll tell you how I made this. So the actual headers themselves are made of nails that I've cut and then bent into shape. And well.
Don't you?
So there's nails there, and then here I've actually used zip ties. Cut them, sanded them flat, and then glued them. Same thing here. And painted it all silver because these nails were kind of different colors and everything, so they didn't look good. So that's what I've done. You didn't miss anything important.
Don't you?
I'm going to finish making the other headers, the other side. So, alright. I've got a nail, and about there is a line. That's where I'm going to be cutting. I'm also going to be flattening down this side so it's not, you know, at an angle. I want it to be flat. I've already gone ahead and made the other three, but I'm going to do this one on camera. Yeah, that's good there. Alright. I'm going to cut this a little bit, and yeah. Alright. So I've got this one done, kind of. Now I want to see how well it matches up to the other three. Now I've already made sure that all these three are exactly the same length. So it's really easy to just like go ahead and match it up. And already I can see right away that this one has to be shortened down a little bit, so I'm going to do that later. So it's a little bit long on that end, and almost perfect on that end. So yep, I'm going to keep working on that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut out all the pieces. I made sure all of them are, you know, perfect. This is where each of the header tubes will glue onto. Each of these dots, by the way, are almost exactly 1/4 inch apart from each other. So. You can kind of see it. But yeah, that's where they'll glue to. And the back of this will glue to the back side of the cylinder head. So here I've got the zip ties that I've cut to length. They're exactly, or just a little hair over 3/4 inch. And these will glue 3/4 the way down from the top of the header tube. So maybe about that's halfway. Thinking maybe about there. I'll make sure it's the exact same as the other side, but yeah. So now for the left headers, I had glued these on at an angle, and then each of these angles were exactly the same, but progressively. This is the front of the vehicle, by the way, this way. This would be almost vertical, kind of. And then here it would be, that angle would be the same, but it would be a little bit more like that. You know, the next one, like that, that. But since I'm doing the right side, it's going to be the mirrored. So I'm actually going to have it a little bit like that, like that, like that, and like that. Kind of. It's exaggerated, but you'll see. So. Okay. So I've glued the second one on, and I'm just going to stop to show you here how you can make sure that this angle is exactly mirrored to the left header. So check this out. You go ahead and make sure that these two pipes here are exactly parallel. And you make sure the backing plate that I'm holding onto with my left hand is exactly parallel to the backing plate to the other header. And I don't know if you can see it, but I mean, that looks mirrored to me. So now all you just gotta do is keep that angle and then add it a little more. So this one will be here, and this one will be over here. And I'll show you when it's done. So, there you go. god. Does that look cool or what?
1 week later.
Okay, so for this one, I'm going to be cutting out the engine scoop, finally. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to be in the garage because I'm going to be using a Dremel with a cutoff wheel, and it creates a lot of metal dust, and I don't want that in my room because that's where I do most of my work. You're going to need a glass of water if you're going to be holding this with your hands like I am, because it gets hot fast. So you just got to get a glass of water and periodically just dip it in, cool it off real quick, and then keep cutting. So yeah, let's get started, I guess. So usually when I cut metal, I like to keep the Dremel on low. I mean, I always like to keep it on low. I have the Dremel that is either slow or fast, and that's really annoying, but I mean, oh well, I guess. Fast is a little bit too fast for me. Slow is, alright. It gets faster as it heats up. I guess it builds resistance and stuff like that, so it tries to pump in more current, I guess. I don't know how it works, but either way, it'll get faster as it warms up, so. Either way, let's get started. Now, this is going to be pretty loud, so if you want, you can turn your volume down now. Ugh, okay. So there's my hands. All that is metal dust, by the way. Imagine if that was in your lungs or in your eyes. Alright, so I got the 3 pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the edges because they look a lot better than they really are. Especially this round one here, the end piece. Yeah, it's not good. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the edges and I'll meet you back up in my room. Alright? Back in a second. Okay. So we're back in my room and I've finished cutting that one piece that was a little long for whatever reason. So these two are almost identical, which is fine. You know, just a little bit that one piece, and maybe I'll get that, but well, maybe I won't get it. Anyways, so I got that. I'll run it off, and so these have to be bent like that, you know, to the shape of this, which is a little difficult, but that's fine. I can do that. And then we're going to take some masking tape and block off part of this, because the side panels are really only like that, you know, and then they took the extra sheet metal out of the bone marrow's hood and added the rest of that, and so I gotta make it look like it's two separate colors and stuff like that, so I'll do that later and paint it and all that. And this is gonna be all sorts of different colors, it's not just red. So a little bit of work. The wheel from last video. I painted it white. I blocked off the tire and then just have the rim. This is going to be the side that's showing, so I probably should have more paint on this side, but I don't know, I'll do that if I feel like it. So right now I'm going to focus on this side. I'm going to be using some of this Rustall. It's real rust. Yeah. You've heard me talk about it before. I'm not going to go through that again. But, if I'm talking a little quieter in this one, it's because it's like almost 1 in the morning right now, and all my family's asleep. And instead, I'm here sitting awake, painting wheels, because priorities. So you want to just dip it in and, you know, brush off the sides, and you only want a little bit of it. You're not gonna go crazy and just dump it on. So, and well, let's get started.
Everybody.
ahead, and like I said in the last one, it takes, you know, a day or two to fully do it, because you gotta build up some layers. And I'm currently letting the backside dry, because this is gonna be the side that's facing out. Okay, so, and the primer that I used, you know, it was white, and I needed a black background, so I quickly just sprayed over it a couple coats of, actually no, just like one coat, half a coat of flat black. That's what I did for this one. And I think I used a little bit too less, a little too little black paint on this one, because it's more brown than black, and it's not really making me happy, but oh well, I'm just gonna roll with it, I guess. I don't feel like repainting this, so the center there is drying. It's still not fully dried, but I'm gonna go ahead and take the tape off, because this side's ready. So there you go. That's the center of the wheel kind of painted. I know I got to paint these spots that I've peeled off by accident, but that's okay. That'll only give it more of a more weathered look. And besides, like I said, I keep saying this, and it's true. You're not gonna see it. Barely, you know. Let me get this light here. You're barely gonna see anything. And so if there are any mistakes, yeah, nobody will notice. No one will notice but you and me. Anyways. So, that's that. I'm going to now go ahead and take these, masking tape cutouts from the last one and reuse them like I said I would. And just kind of simply put it back on. Gonna put it on like a hubcap. Okay. Don't be lazy. Anyways, so I've sanded down the top of it just to get rid of the excess paint, because I don't want it to be like sticking through and anything, or making bumps and all that, you know. And I'm gonna wait to do the side still, because the paint is still drying, the rust stuff, because I mean it's still wet in the corners, but anyways, so I'm going to put some a flat primer on the tire first, and then when that dries, I'm going to go ahead and paint it flat black, and hopefully it'll look like this one. Alright. Okay. So we're back again, and I've drilled out the center of the wheel, like I said. And it's a tight fit, but we can get it on there, and then I'm just going to use some glue around the base here. The center post actually broke off just a few minutes ago from me trying to stuff it on there. And so, yeah, hopefully it won't break again, but yeah, let's go. Let's do this. Make sure the holes line up. There you go. 2 dually wheels, ready to go. This one's actually sticking out further than that one. I'm not sure why. But, oh well, I guess. Oh well, I guess. I mean, when they're like this, farther apart like that, you're not gonna notice, so I'm okay with it. Now I just gotta have to finish painting that. And, yeah. Alright, so we got the wheels done. Now all I have to do is the cooling system and the throttle linkage. That's it. We're really close now. Okay. This is it. I've painted the inside just a tiny bit because I don't want it to be pure white, you know? So, I've got the scoop ready. I think I'm gonna put it on now. There's the scoop. It's on there. What do you think? You like it? I do. Alright. Okay, so I guess where do I start? I made this custom radiator here. And I think it turned out absolutely amazing. And I had recorded it. I did. But after trying to upload it to YouTube for like 12 tries or something like that, it wouldn't
upload the video. I have no idea why. Literally any other video I upload to YouTube will work except for that video. So, I give up, and instead I'm just going to show you the end result of that radiator. What it is a piece of cardboard with some of this square tubing, I forget what size it is, on the outside, on the perimeters there. And for the actual radiator looking part of it, it's actually a heat sink that came out of, I believe, some sort of computer power supply. But I took some of those fins off and grounded them, shortened them, and done all that to them, and glued them onto the front piece of the cardboard there, and tried my best to make it look like a radiator. The two fans on the back are actually two pieces of Lego. It's actually the same Lego piece I used for the bottom of that, or the top of that gas tank there. So, I apologize to leave out a big chunk of what I believe was, you know, good content, but I try my best. I also made the transcooler, which is actually part of the old radiator. I glued on some of this square tubing again, and actually, let me tell you what size it is. Hold on a second, because I forget what size it is. It's like 3 millimeters or something like that. Yeah, 4 millimeters. You can kind of see it there, but yeah, you can get them from Evergreen, so I did that. So I have the intercooler, the transcooler, I mean. I'm going to glue that on later, but I was planning on doing the hoses and pipes for this one. So what I have here is some heat shrink tubing, and I'm going to be using those for all the bends and stuff like that, and yeah. These are actually kind of flat, so I'm going to flatten them out the other way, but I have those, and I have some failed attempts at the headers here. These are also the same nails. I think these are maybe 1/8 inch, I think, something like that. Something like that, but yeah. I have a few reference photos I'm going to go off of, and yeah, do all sorts of bends and cool things like that, so yeah. Okay, so I have some images pulled up on my computer because I'm sitting almost directly next to it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started working here. So
I screamed out loud again, but you won't dare to hear my call, so I climbed into my bed and slept. I slept till I could sleep no more, and I got you out of my head. You're not beside me.
I'm not going to add any glue on the top because it doesn't need it, and I don't want to have any beads showing, so there you go, custom radiator hose number 1 out of many. So okay, so I've completely done the cooling system. I finished it. And now that everything back here is done, I think it's time to put on the wheels. But first, cooling system. Perfect. Almost there. One more thing left to do after this. Let's start with the front wheels. Now, I wanted to wait till the last minute to put on these wheels because I don't know if you can notice, but once these goes on, there's no way to get them back off because this is a clip, you know. It expands and holds on to the inside of that. And in order to get it off, you have to squeeze these two fingers together so you can slide it off. And with the wheel on the hub there, that's not going to happen. So I've been waiting till the last minute for that. So this is a pretty big moment. First wheel. If I can get it on in the first place. There's one. I'm never going to take it off again. There's two. Oh, this is a big moment. Okay. Now let's see. Which wheel do I want facing this one? How about this one? It's harder than I thought. Probably because all the paint. I'm really excited for this. Okay. Oh man. There it is. The wheels are on. Oh man. Oh my god, it's gorgeous. Oh. I'm sorry for freaking out on you, but oh, you gotta see this. Oops, I'm so sorry. Oh. The wheels are on. Now, it's time to put the body on. There. I need an actual tripod that holds onto the phone, not just let it sit like I do. Alright. This is so cool. Oh. No, that ain't good. Hold on a second. I keep bumping you, I'm sorry. The, engine mount just came off. I'll fix that. Hold on a second. Okay. Sorry about that. The, part of the engine mount came off, so. Got the wheels on. Put the body on. Oh my gosh. Like I said, I'm sorry for freaking out on you, but this is just so freaking exciting for me right now. first time I'll be able to see the truck whole. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Not too happy with how far apart the wheels are, but I mean, I'm okay with it, I guess. Oh. Alright, ready for this? Oh, that's awesome. Wow. Wow. Oh, that's amazing. Alright. Now there is one thing left to do, sadly. Actually, a couple things left to do, but don't worry about that. I got to put the, if it'll focus. Are you gonna focus? No? Alright, screw you too. I gotta put the throttle linkage on. Haven't done that yet. I also have to do the transmission cooler, and I think I'll glue the main ignition wire. But there you go, folks. Project began in March and is almost finished.
Well, that's normal, because that's what actually happens.
Right.
Where do you want it? Right here?
On the roof if possible. If you don't have room.
Here, and I'll try and save room.
Thank you. So did you start out with an actual model? And
Yeah.
modify?
I started out with a 48 Ford F1, a pickup truck model, and I slowly turned into a Stubby. So
That's cool.
there you go.
Where did the engine come from?
I bought that off eBay.
So can you just buy model engines of various kinds like that?
Yeah. Most of it is like scratch built, you know, like the radiator hoses and all that. Those are just nails, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna go bother Finnegan now.
10 lug wheels on it.
That would be sweet. Alright, let me can you turn that sideways? Alright, there we go.
Go for it.
I just turned my phone off. Hold on.
So good.
Rookie move.
Mike's road kill even when he's taking a selfie.
So I don't know if you remember me from last year.
How long did it
but
take you to build that?
Too long.
It's
Since March.
I love that even the keg is small.
Yeah.
Right?
The motor mount broke off too, but I'll fix it later.
That's awesome.
So damn cool.
I don't know if you remember me from last year, but I brought I made a General Mayhem in Rotson.
Yeah.
And I would say I would either do Mike's Lemke Camaro or Stubby Bob, and well,
This is amazing. You got the seats.
Oh my goodness. The rigged up bucket seats.
You did it right, buddy.
there's a whole lot more.
He even did the freaking V-drive cover.
Yep. And over you can see all the.
That is just, holy crap, there's our crappy cross member.
Yep.
That is incredible, right?
Dude, that's epic.
I started this in March, and I just finished like a couple weeks ago.
Isn't that good? Yeah, you gotta pose.
Thank you.
No, that's killer. Alright, you gotta pose with it, Mike.
Absolutely.
With the...
Yeah, go ahead, get the movie. Yeah, hold the naked.